Hi, welcome to the Wyoming elk hunt video. Trying out something a little different on this one. I didn't get as much footage as I would have liked just because of how the trip went. So I decided to do this. I'm going to hop in here and there and kind of explain what was going on just because we didn't do a whole bunch of talking. And I should have videoed a lot more, but since I was holding the bow, it was a little bit hard. So I'm just going to be hopping in here and there for just a couple seconds to explain what was going on. But that being said, enjoy the video.
Is still drive, or if they're closed off roads, you know what I mean?
Right.
Pretty far too, right? I mean,
Right.
But there is a road right up on that ridge somewhere. But there's a lot of country in there. And
Is
from
there,
there, could we
is there
see
any roads over that way
just that one?
that
It's weird.
goes down in there?
They show the roads on the National Forest, but they shut them off when they hit BLM. That Onyx does.
So the first morning, first of all, we've never been to Wyoming hunting before. So it was a bit difficult to know really where to go. We're just using our best knowledge and doing some e-scouting. First morning we went to an area that we thought looked good. As you'll see, I just got a couple clips in there, but went in there, there was not much sign, nothing making noise, nothing really happening. So the second morning, we decided to go to a different area, and we walked up an old closed logging road. Once we get up in there, we bugle, and multiple other bulls started going off. So we're like, all right, let's work this. There was one closer than the other, so we decided to work him. The position that he was in compared to us, I decided to position on the top side of the road by the hill. Looking back, I should have positioned myself at the bottom of the road. It would have been made for a lot better cover, but where we thought he was going to come out, that seemed better at the time, but he ended up coming up on top of the road, which I was basically out in the open, and you'll see the events that transcribed after that. was one closer than the other, so we decided to work him. The position that he was in compared to us, I decided to position on the top side of the road by the hill. Looking back, I should have positioned myself at the bottom of the road. It would have been made for a lot better cover, but where we thought he was going to come out, that seemed better at the time, but he ended up coming up on top of the road, which I was basically out in the open, and you'll see the events that transcribed after that. So this bull finally walks in the place that we didn't want him to, but that's what happens. He walks in, I draw back, and I'm basically in the open. I have my pin on him. He stops, and as soon as I'm moving my finger onto the trigger to release, he notices me and takes off. It was like a split second. He looked back, noticed me, gone. I was probably a half a second from releasing and having my second bull this year. But that's what happens. After this, we decided to work the what we think was the herd bull up higher, a couple hundred yards up higher. He never ended up coming down to us, but I should have stayed where I was at. Instead, I moved because we were going to start working him. And that first bull comes back. I didn't get video of him because I was in the wrong position, but he comes back within 20 yards of me again, and I don't have a shot. But that's just how it works. I wish I would have really released a half second earlier or stayed in that position because he came back. But that's what happens.
And I didn't know again. I couldn't see anything. So when I heard him busted, I'm thinking, he did it again. You know, I thought Weston just drilled another one.
On the first day, a little bit rough. It's late in the rut right now. They're not going hard. And the first day, man, we saw one, maybe two, negative if that one was a moose or not, it's weird. Two fresh piles of elk crap. Didn't really count for much. Hiked our butts off, probably 2,000 feet of vertical yesterday, wouldn't you say? And with nothing. And it was kind of a degrading day, but you have those, So we put our heads together and started doing some scouting around and saw this area and knew that it was really thick. And again, walking up an old logging road that was closed, and we did start seeing some fresh elk tracks on the road. So we knew there's some elk somewhere, and I threw out a bugle just to see if we could locate something, and one jumped right on it, didn't he? He was right on it. And so we formulated a plan, thought about the situation, checked the wind, did all of our pre-flight checklist, basically, and closed the distance, hit him again, and he didn't answer the cow calls, though, did he, at first? And so then we hit him again, and he jumped right on it, and he was up in this little draw. So we went forward once more. We staged Weston in for the for the setup, staged him. Darren stayed there, so Weston had gone forward, Darren stayed there, and I dropped back. And I just kind of started a slow play sequence, nice and easy. And boy, he would chuckle and talk, and then it got kind of quiet for a minute. And then all of a sudden I hear a bunch of crashing, and I thought, oh, Weston just got him. It was real close, real close to me. It was probably within 100 yards of me, and you were a lot closer, so I knew it. And come to find out, the bull had come in right, just the way we wanted him to. He just didn't come in where we thought he was going to, which is always the case. Weston did a good job trying to get him turned, because instead of coming in on Weston's right, he came in on his left. Weston had to get turned, and the bull presented for the shot. But there was just a little bit of motion. The bull caught the motion, and just as Weston's finger was on the trigger, he's lined up the shot. Just as it was on the trigger, he bolted off a little bit. But when he bolted off, I heard him bugle at him, and I think it stopped him. And then he stood up there and chuckled and bugled at us for another 20 minutes. Did he rake?
He's raking.
Was he? That's probably when I was raking too. I didn't hear him raking. And it just got to me, and he wore all my patience. I got tired of him not committing, and so I walked down around and up the road like I was tired of him, and started working some cow calls and some grunts and groans, and up the road. As I got up the road, another 150 yards, because I want him to do. We were pulling the Cartman maneuver on him. Screw you guys, I'm going home. I don't care. And we had another bull answer. And maybe a third. We're not quite sure. There's not two bulls over there. So we went back. And Darren was with me at that point. So we went back. We decided to have Darren start doing some cow calls. We got Weston. We moved up. We were tired of that bull. Figured he was nervous enough. He wasn't coming in. We were going down the road, down the old logging road there, and got down in this little draw, and Darren started doing some cow calls. I started doing some bugles and grunts and groans. Darren was doing some raking, and I'll be damned if that little bugger didn't come running down the road right to us. But there, he got lucky. It's so thick in here. If you pan around, you can see how thick this country is. It's crazy. So he just couldn't, he had the, he was close enough. He was 20 yards, but he just couldn't get the shot. And then I think he got nervous and went down the draw. So we kept working the bull that was above us. He would answer everything. Didn't matter whether we bugled, whether I challenged him, whether we were cow calling, it didn't matter. And so we finally got tired of that. We think he's the herd bull in the area. I think the satellite was the one we called right in, and I think we got the herd bull right up here, 400 or 500 yards over this way. And I went up the road quite a ways, a quarter mile almost probably. And I was bugling from up there, and he would still answer. Darren stayed in the bottom, was cow calling. That's probably when that little bull came really running in, I think. But that big bull or that other bull just won't come off that hill. He stays right in the same spot. So we think he's bedded up there with his cow. So we're going to take a breakfast break. Let the thermals get strong and uphill, because right now they're kind of weird in here. It's not really quite warm enough for the thermals to come up yet. And we'll go get him in his bed. We'll either challenge him and run in on him and kill him in his bed, or we'll get him to come running and defend his herd, I think. Still trying to decide how I'm going to work that, whether I'm going to work that with cow calls and whether I'm just going to throw some challenge vehicles at him. I don't know. He hasn't run off yet, and he's answered everything, so I think he thinks he's pretty bad. But I got to think about that one, see what we're going to do. But more to come.
came within probably 20 yards of another bull that I never even saw, but I could hear him breathing and walking around, which was crazy. I was probably within 15 yards of him, but it was so thick I couldn't see him. And I didn't get any video of that, but there was nothing really to see anyways. After that, we went around to the other side, completely opposite side of where we were, to the herd bowl, next to a creek, thinking maybe they'd come down there for water later that evening. They didn't. So we packed up, went back to camp, and the next 3 days were basically silent. We went back up to the area again. We heard one small bugle, and then nothing. Everything just completely shut up. Nothing was making noise. The next day after that, we went up similar to that area, but a little higher. Found tons of sign everywhere, tons of tracks. Found a really, really good wallow, but there was nothing, no sounds. We ran into one cow, but nothing was talking. Everything shut up. They either moved off or just were not talking. So the next 2-3 days was just hiking around, seeing nothing. So I didn't get much video done.
My name is Dr. Darren Peterson, PhD of Sciences, to figure out several things on this earth. The one thing we're trying to figure out today, and we've gotten a grant from the federal government for $4.7 million to figure this one thing out. And it happens a lot that we've seen. But we're going to try to figure it out today in Wyoming, in the Bridger National Forest. And the one thing is why this beer can is heavier empty than it is full, and why people cannot carry it out. And we've got Kent Beckstead here. He is 8-time world heavyweight lifter. If he can't lift this can, we know that this research is real. Kent, please go ahead.
I gotta get psyched up.
This is going to be a tough one.
Okay, I think I can do it.
It's a Bud Light can, so it should be lighter.
It should be lighter. It's Bud Light, right? Okay.
Come on.
I can barely move
on.
it.
You could do it.
I can't.
Come on.
I can barely get it off the ground. Oh, that's all I got. That's all. I'm gonna have hemorrhoids.
The research is real, folks. Cans like this, it's just impossible to carry out empty. It can't be done. I'm glad we got $4.7 million to figure this out. Now we can go on more elk hunts.
Exactly. I don't know how
Thanks,
we're gonna get
folks.
this out of here, though.
I don't know either. Maybe we need Weston to carry it. He's got all the camera equipment. He probably weighs more than the can, but folks, thanks for joining us today. I hope we can bring you some more great content like this, because that's what we're here to do. Thank you.
But that was about it for the Wyoming trip, just that small encounter on that second day. And that was it. So we headed home, and I had a chance to go back with the rifle hunt, but because of work and other obligations, we weren't able to get back up for that rifle hunt, which was unfortunate, but that's how it is. There's always another year. But we ended up seeing some moose, which was cool. Saw some beautiful country, learned a lot from the area that we were in, hoping to go back next year and probably go a week earlier, because we went the last week of the archery season, and I think the rut was just starting to fade off, so they weren't running very hard. But that being said, hopefully you don't mind me talking too much, but thanks for watching. We're gonna do hunting season pretty much over, but we're gonna try and do some more videos on fishing and other outdoor stuff. I'm trying to get another series going. More on that to come if I ended up getting that going. we're also getting a run of shirts happening and a run of hats. Just a small run for anybody who's interested. But that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.